It's my pleasure to introduce our featured speaker today, Mr. Gary Crenshaw, Lebanon Mayor. Gary was born in Lebanon and has a long list of accomplishments, so I'll share a few of those with you today. He received his Bachelor of Education at UK. He's also served 2 years as a missionary in Argentina from 1976 to 78. He served as County Executive Director with USDA FSA in Jefferson County. He's Commodity Program Specialist at USDA FSA State Headquarters in Lexington. Became the youngest area director in the nation for the USDA and FSA in 1986. Now the longest serving area director of the nation for the USDA. Chosen as one of 4 lead instructors for the National USDA Leadership Training in 2013 to today, traveling the U.S. conducting training to new USDA managers, helping foster future leaders. He served on the Lebanon City Council from 92 to 98, at which time he was elected mayor and served as mayor from 1999 to present. He's a 2012 recipient of the Kentucky League of Cities Elected Official of the Year. He's also married to the former Angela Nance. He has 2 sons, Jason and Brandon, and 1 stepdaughter, Jalita Leachman, plus 2 great-grandchildren. 2 wonderful grandchildren, not great-grandchildren yet, grandchildren that he loves and cherishes. Please give us a warm welcome to Mayor Gary Crenshaw. They're not great-grandchildren yet, but they're awesome grandchildren.
As she was reading off all those nice things, I felt pretty old. And I had to update my resume. I have 3 grandchildren now. Angela would kill me if I left out the newest member of our family, and that's Juliana Leachman. Last week I had a speaking engagement and had a black suit on. And I was standing up, and I'm a pacer. If you're speaking or lecturing, I like to pace. It's a nervous habit. And I was pacing back and forth. I looked down, my socks were blue. And so before I left today, the last thing I checked when I walked out to make sure my socks were black today. And I'm pleased to announce that. I want to say hello to all of you and how much I appreciate trying to work for you and doing the job as mayor that is incumbent upon that responsibility. And I was in a meeting last night, and we got to talking about different things, and they asked me how being mayor was. And look, I have a very healthy, realistic approach. I am not the mayor of Louisville or Owensboro, but I am the mayor of the most energized economic engine in the state of Kentucky. And that means that the city of Lebanon operates with a positive funding source, and it's very positive. In 2009, right after the 2008 crash, the city of Lebanon's revenues were about $5 million. It's a lot of money. Prior to that, it had been in the 7 and 8 category, but the readjustment of employment in Lebanon caused a drastic reduction in our economy here. And at the time that happened, we had several projects that the city had taken debt on, things like Center Square, our sewer plant, and just a whole bunch of other things that you have to do. And you know, I'm pleased to report that next month I'll be submitting a budget to the City Council for their review and approval and changes that they wish to make. That the City of Lebanon will be approaching $12 million in revenue for its general fund, and somewhere around 3.5 to 4 on our sewer fund, which those two have to, by law, remain separate. And we're forecasting our expenses this next year at around $8 to $9 million. Probably be a little bit more than that. And so, from the city administration standpoint, it's very easy to be the mayor. And I appreciate that, because when you are in a positive financial position, it makes it easier to do things in your community. And there are communities around us that have difficulty making their budget reflect a positive situation. And so this little engine that we are in Lebanon, while we may not be big, but I like to think that we're a shining jewel among communities in the state of Kentucky. We have a beautiful downtown, and there's been a lot of work put into that by many of you and others who aren't here today. We are getting ready to take on some projects in the city. One of those is a $5 million upgrade to our sewer plant, because as we bring industry and employment to Lebanon and Marion County, it wears everything out. It wears our streets out, wears our water plant out, it wears our sewer plant out. And so we're embarking upon that major expense this year. Another expense that we're going to have to do this year is a new fire truck. That new fire truck's $500,000 or more. And you know, it doesn't take long to wonder, how do communities afford this? How do they afford to keep protection and services and all those things going? And the secret is development. If you have a healthy development economy, then you can afford those things. And so I extend a heartfelt appreciation to all those who participate in the dynamic engine that is Lebanon. And it is not the mayor, and it's probably more John Thomas, because he keeps the wheels on the bus, and I certainly appreciate that. We also have, I think, very, very good leadership in our departments. We have a public works department that can do anything from roads, curbing, building construction. There's just not anything that they can't do. And we utilize them for that. And I'm very appreciative of them. And then our parks and our park and our pool. Last year, we had in 2018, we had over 50,000 patrons come into our swimming pool. Now, I understand that a lot of those were the same kid day after day after day after day. But 50,000 individuals, regardless of whether they're the same one or not, is 50,000 that go through the door of our pool. And our park and our pool, this coming year, we're going to project about $950,000 in expenses. And those are outlays that we don't get all of that back. We do not turn a profit at our pool. But we consider our park and our pools a quality of life issue. And that our park, when I was a small kid and roamed Lebanon pretty free, I wouldn't let my kids do that now for nothing. But we would leave on Saturday morning and we'd be gone all day. And we'd play ball in the morning and go to the pool at 1 o'clock and stay there till 4 or 5. And that's what we did. We played sports and went to the pool during the summer. You know, I'm 64 years old now, and our park has greatly expanded. We have thousands of people during the year use our park. And a lot of those people are not from Lebanon. And it's a great draw, and we're very appreciative to have that. There's not many communities that have a 100-acre park in the middle of their community. We recently lost Matthew Spalding as our park director. And Moo was an integral part of that park. I can't imagine the park being there and Moo frenetically involved in something. But we have hired a new park director, and that will be announced when everybody that is notified that interviewed for it. And so I think our legacy of good park leadership will continue. We have made some changes at the park that will save the city quite a bit of money. We have switched out some of our lighting system, and it's going to save us about $30,000 to $40,000 a year out of the park in electrical costs. I mentioned last year when I spoke here that at our sewer plant, our sewer plant operator, through his initiative and hard work, is saving us about another $40,000 a year in land farming, which is kind of unique. It's something that hardly anybody else is able to do, but we are, because we have good people and the opportunity to do it. And so every one of our directors are conscious of, yes, we spend money, and we are going to continue to spend money because that's what we have to do to keep things rolling. But they're very conscious about saving money where we can. And so I really appreciate our folks who manage the city operations. It's another reason why my job is I consider easy, and I appreciate what they do. For our upcoming year, we've got several projects in each department of the city. And one of the things I hope to get done this coming year is building a sidewalk from, I think it's Mercer Avenue, John. Mercer Avenue out to Kroger. And that project's about $70,000 to $80,000. So if we do it, I hope it gets used. We have had several requests for a sidewalk out to Walmart, and we would love to do that. That project is over $900,000. And so in your mind, you're thinking it's just a sidewalk. Well, it's a state highway too. And we have to build it according to state specs, and we run into the bypass in Campbellsville Highway, that intersection out there, and it totally drives the cost because we have to have drainage, we have to have this and that. So I don't know that we're ever going to get that done, but it's something that's needed. And we hope somehow, some way to find money to do that. We are constantly watching out for ways in which we can improve what goes on in our community. And one of those things that we do quite well, I think, is that supporting economic development. You know, just the recent addition of Diageo to our community will put $750,000 into the school system in tax revenue at a time when obviously our school system needs that revenue. And I hope that they put it to good use. There's about another $500,000 in taxes that will come into the community and go to different taxing districts. So that's $1,200,000 that we have in this community that its leaders will have an opportunity to put towards the betterment of our community. And there's not many communities that have that kind of income, and that's off of one plant. And I would ask yourselves, how many of you have spouses, parents, children, grandchildren who are working at plants in our community and have the opportunity to work and live here in Lebanon? Which creates another problem that we have difficulty solving. We do not have enough employees in our community to take care of all the job openings. It's a good problem to have, and it's one that we energetically approach and attack, but it is a problem. And so we have to do outreach, and our Economic Development Office is doing an extremely good job with that, along with our office here that handles employment and recruiting, that does such a fine job. So all of these tools we put together, and we have this synergy that keeps us going. We have extremely good, Judge Daugherty in here, so I'm going to say this, and he can't rebut it, but we have extremely good relationships with the county. And and I'm proud to say that the three judges that I've worked with, I don't think you've ever read an article in the paper where that we had a significant disagreement. I know we had a little bit of a disagreement on getting the parking lot striped out at the park, but it's striped, so maybe that disagreement led to something. But I love working with Judge Daugherty, and I appreciate his magistrates that anytime that the city has a problem, I can go to Judge Daugherty, or he can come to me, and we shut the door, and we can disagree all we want, but when we open the door and come out, we're shaking hands, and we're still good friends. And I think that that's important in leadership, that you be able to put aside your differences for the good of everybody. And it seems that every organization that I have an affiliation with in Lebanon, that we're able to do that. And we have some significant discussions in some of the committees that we serve on. But yet at the end of the day, we're able to walk away knowing that we are doing the best we can for our community. I want to tell you that we have out at the park a few things that we're getting ready to do. You know, the old bleachers, the old concrete bleachers there at Gorley Field, we're going to replace those this coming year, finally at last. I remember playing on those as a kid, so you know they're in need of rehab. You know, we work well with our water company. Darren at the water company really bends over backwards to work with us on our projects, and we have almost an unlimited source of water in our community, which is paramount for these communities that are coming in that need water. We have great cooperation with our electric companies, which is so important, and we continue to do well with that. You know, this morning I want to tell you that in my budget that I'm submitting, I'm going to ask for $25,000 to help the arts here in Marion County with a donation. It won't be a donation, it'll be an authorization. And there will be some restrictions on that to Kentucky Classic Arts and the wonderful job that they're doing. And I hope that other businesses and plants, when they come knocking on your door, which I hope they do, that you will be generous in helping some more support the arts for our children. I appreciate the partnership we have with tourism. When tourism first started, you know, just a lot of agony actually and anxiety. But I think that our tourism here in Marion County does well, considering that we don't have a lake and we don't have something that's really extraordinary other than maybe Maker's Mark. But we have a lot of small things that people can enjoy. James, I appreciated your remarks about Myrtle Dean. I had the experience of getting married there 4 years ago yesterday. I have not forgotten my anniversary yet, so I'm still doing well. And the wonderful time we had there and making great memories. The city of Lebanon is doing well. Greg advertises my remarks as a state of the city, and I can report to you that the state of the city is well. There are things that we need to improve on. I think I stood here last year and said that we need to reformulate the Human Rights Committee. That's not been done, and that's on me. It's my fault. But we're going to make another effort this year to do that. And there are other things that we need to work on. The sidewalk out to Walmart, I think it's a critical issue. I think if you build it, it'll be used more than anybody can think. But again, it's $1 million. So we are concerned about ISO ratings. That's why we're getting a new fire truck, because as we keep our vehicles up to date, then your insurance rates maintain your level or hopefully go down. We're concerned about all those things. I've given you a very general discussion about what's going on in the city, but I can tell you that we take in more money than we spend. We have carryover at the end of every year, and our community looks well because of you and what money we can put into it. One of the things that I am concerned about is our streets. As the weather, I don't know anything about climate change. I don't know if it's climate change or just normal trends. But I do know one thing: our streets seem to have more potholes, and it's hard to get state money to fund those. For the second year in a row, we've had to take money out of the general fund and put into our roads in order to try to maintain a cycle of repaving in town. I had jotted down about 3 pages of notes, and I've covered some of them, but I don't want to take any more of your time, but I do want to take a few moments if you have any questions. Whatever they are. Yes, sir.
Mayor, there's much conversation going on around the community referencing a projected multi-purpose building. Can you share any of that with us?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. As most of you know, the judge and I and numerous people have advocated for an events facility here in Marion County. The Economic Development Office has donated land that is conservatively valued at about $500,000 for that project. An idea or a vision of such a facility is hard to capture. You know, these are things that Louisville and Owensboro and Lexington have. And many think that we can't do it here in Lebanon. And there may be a majority of those people that think that. I do not know. But I can tell you, Deacon Evans, I like to call you by your title. I want to recognize your position and your faith. But I can tell you that there is a need in Central Kentucky for a center that can host large events. There is a need for that. Now, whether it should be in Lebanon or not is to be determined. There is a committee of two who have interviewed many of you in this room to get a feel of whether there is some support for such a facility. And I hope that comes back positive. I will tell you that I am nervous about such a facility. I don't stand up here and tell you that I know it's going to be a success, that I know that there won't be any problems and that we will have smooth sailing. I would be lying to you. It makes me nervous. And that's why we've taken a cautionary approach to it. Now, one thing I'm not nervous about is that there is money in this community to build it. And I've not made any bones, or the judge hasn't either. Between fiscal court, the city council, and tourism, there is money to build the facility. There are many other questions that we have to explore and answer. For instance, who's going to manage it? Who will be the everyday director? What other costs are inherent in building such a facility? For instance, equipment that needs to go in there if we have a regional basketball tournament. I'm not talking about high school, but I'm talking about community organized basketball. But there are events, for instance, any of you that have pets, there is a need in this region for somewhere to have regional pet shows, dog shows. They're happening, but they're not happening in our region because there's no facility to do it. There is no facility to have a 2,000 or 3,000 person convention within our region. There is nowhere to have a major concert in our region. And so we feel like that if Lebanon doesn't do this, that it will be done in Campbellsville, Danville, or Bardstown at some point in time. And maybe they should do it. But as of today, I still think that Lebanon has an opportunity to do that. As soon as that study is done, the judge and I will sit down and listen to the results of it and evaluate it, and we'll make that public. We have no reason to be hiding anything. It will be transparent. And ultimately, fiscal court, the city council, and tourism will have to make that decision of whether we move forward or not. And I hope that the desire is there, and I hope that we can move forward. Now, I want to address one other question with that. I know you've got to go. But we have a wonderful, wonderful organization here in our community, and that's Kentucky Classic Arts, and the wonderful work that Robin has done with them. And in our vision, we do not see this events facility competing with that. Center Square is a 300-seat venue. We're talking about a 2,500 to 3,000-seat venue. Kentucky Classic Arts has plays using local product, local talent, and our children here. We see events coming to Lebanon to put things on. And as far as funding, I told you that I'm putting $25,000 into their budget. I hope the city council approves that. But these two facilities, Center Square and this events facility, should not be competing with one another. They're totally two different things for two different purposes. Now, the big thing about an events facility that we need to understand is that it's an economic development generator. If we're successful in doing that, we have a better chance of getting a name brand restaurant. We have a better chance of getting other related businesses that support that. And so I hope it works. And I don't know if I've answered your question, but I have given you a long answer. Any other questions?
When you talk about a sidewalk around the Walmart, are we talking of one from like down the middle of downtown Lebanon all the way up to the Walmart doors? How long is that?
No, we're talking about from Wendy's
Okay.
to,
Because there's already sidewalks from
yes.
middle to top of the window.
But we're talking about from Wendy's to wherever the end of it would be located to have access to Walmart. And the major cost for that is that intersection and everything that comes back from that intersection that requires electrical, drainage, and then building it to the specs that the state requires. Thank you all very much. You've been great.